All right. Okay. Good evening. Okay. We'll get started for today's session over here. Okay. So welcome back to the new week. Okay. So very quick one here. Let me just do some housekeeping. Okay. So this is something that we run every Monday. Okay, at 9:30 over here. With the objective over here is to share with you, okay, the overview of the week. What are some things to take note of? What are some of the opportunities that you want to pay a little bit more attention from a technical point of view as well? And at the end of the day, at the end of this session, we'll have a little bit of a Q&A, okay? And then after that, we'll wrap up that session with some upcoming events or and promotions, right, that we have from Everything Trading. Okay, so this session here is actually sponsored by Everything Trading. Okay, and that's the part where we run it on every Monday. Okay, good. So quick disclaimer, because we are talking about actual opportunities in the market where we are looking at for the week. Okay, so I just want to cover over here that everything is for educational.
Recording in progress.
It's for educational purposes, right? So make sure if you're trading, be aware there's risk involved, and you know how to manage it. Okay. So with that said, okay, let's get started by looking at the weekly events calendar first. Okay, I'll summarize quickly what happened last week, and then we'll look into this week's event. Last week over here, if you take a look at overall, US side, not much except for the core PCE price index that came in on Friday. Okay, the FOMC really didn't give much of a impact in the dollar or in the market. Okay, but we did see that on Friday the core PCE price index came in pretty hot. Okay, hot means good. Now why is this data important? Because if you look into this, this is actually tracking inflation, and we did see a higher than expected month-on-month data, which again starts to indicate that perhaps inflation is still a key concern, right? Because late last year, early this year, many are expecting that inflation has been falling, potentially the Fed will stall or slow down its hiking, but February data so far seems to suggest otherwise. Okay, so we have like CPI coming in. It dropped, but it drops very, very little for February. And then right now, when we see the core PCE price index is actually higher than anticipated, which might again bring up the concern of inflation, and perhaps the Fed, may be going back to hiking more aggressively, right? So that's the part where we start to see the dollar continue to see a little bit more strength, right, in the near term. Okay, fundamentally, that's where that catalyst comes from. Other than that, most of the other data, we have RBNZ, but not much of a surprise there. Nothing much from last week other than Friday's PCE price index. Okay, so going into this week here, we don't really have as much significant data as compared to maybe last week or the previous one. US side, you don't really have much. To me, consumer confidence doesn't really impact much of the market. And then we have ISM services PMI again. I don't think that's going to be huge, right? We do have this Bank of Japan speech coming in tomorrow, but again, it's a bit tricky because most of the time you realize that here put 12:10, but the actual event may not be 12:10. It might be earlier, it might be later. We don't know. Okay, they always change it. It's a bit difficult to catch, okay, but just take note that maybe that event may give some kind of volatility in the yen, again, depending on what is being said, right? And then we have this here as well on UK side, but I don't think that's like super significant, right? Now, in terms of Aussie, okay, we have this here on Wednesday morning on CPI year on year, so you can see basically inflation, other than the US, most other countries are still significantly high, right? Like UK is still around like 9-10% range. Australia, you can see here, is about 8 point something, right? Expecting to come down to 8.1. But the US side is about 6 point something, right? So it is significantly lower than the other countries, right? So do keep track of Aussie CPI, because if Wednesday VAR is able to release like way below 8%, maybe 7.9 or sort, we might see the Aussie weaken a little bit more, okay? Which from a technical point of view, that's what we are anticipating for Aussie to continue falling, especially Aussie dollar, right? So that might be something to keep an eye on, right, in terms of the potential catalyst to push the Aussie, okay? So those are the events for the week, okay? So let's take a look at the charts for now, okay? So let's take a look at dollar index. So if you look at dollar index here, that's where you can see on Friday, you know, we kind of get a little bit of push, and then of course since then today we're not doing much. We are pretty close towards 105.60, which is the previous high here. What we'll then expect here is just basically the continuation a little bit more to the upside and touch that 105.60, okay? So short term, we're expecting price to just break through, touch it a little bit on 105.60, and then how it's going to react from there, we need to then observe after that. So because of that reason, first off, we're not going to be buying it right now. We do expect it to go up a little bit more, okay? But if you don't have any buy, then I don't think it's worth buying already. If you have buy trades, then just manage it accordingly. What we want to observe is, are we going to get a crawl pattern around 105.60? If we get, then this will be a very nice little double top for a deeper pullback. We can then look to sell the dollar from there, at least for the short run, okay? If we kind of get a V shape, we also can look to sell the dollar, okay? If we kind of get an impulse break above it and a correction above, then and only then we'll be looking for more upside after that, okay? But this one here is going to take time. You don't need to rush things through, okay? So that's my overview for the dollar for this week. I think majority part of the week we're likely going to be like waiting, okay, and not really having much of a trade from the dollar itself, okay? So having said that, if you go over to euro dollar, then it's quite the opposite of how we look at DXY, okay? So we are getting very, very close to this bottom here, so we can't expect this to drop. Again, the question is more of like, how is it gonna drop, right? Is it gonna go correctively as a crawl? Then if that's the case, we have a little buy to the upside. Or if you're gonna do a V shape, then again, wait for a pullback, we have a buy to the upside. If it does just a simple kind of correction here, you know, for those of you who are more super short term, you can still consider a sell. But from a swing trade perspective, you know, that's like less than 100 pips. It's not worth doing a swing trade, okay? So that's on euro. Again, I think majority for this week, we're probably just going to be waiting, right? Unless you already have a sell trade, okay, and you just want to manage it, you know, shift your stops according to some of these highs here, and protect your profits, right, in the downside. Pound dollar, okay, pound dollar here, we are expecting a bit of a drop, right, but quite similar to the overall kind of decision making process with the dollar and the euro dollar. Selling, even if this does a little bit of a pullback here, selling here is not that attractive, okay? Probably like 100-ish pips that you might capitalize on, and to me, that's not really worth the swing trade for pound dollar. Right, so I'll be more interested to see how the market react around that 1.1840. Then if you can get a bounce, then that will be a potential buy, okay? There this possibility where, because right now for pound dollar, we're only seeing this as a pullback and then this is a push down, so we might still get another move up before that drop to complete that 1 2 3. If that's the case, then I will consider, you know, if you can get a sell set up at the top here, to look for a sell, because then selling here versus selling here is different, right? This one here you get a little bit, but this one here you get a bigger move, okay? So we'll see, right? I mean, right now the market seems to be going up quite strong at this point in time, so we may then eventually also see something like more of like a regular flat, right? That looks something like that. So only time will tell, right? So we're just gonna give it a little bit more time. There's no need to rush things through. Okay, I'll just remove this or else very confusing. Yeah, so if the market were to go back up and retest this area, you need to at least give it another 2 days, right? So today plus maybe end of tomorrow, we might start to see sign if you can get towards this top, and of course ideally we want to see this also slowing down as it approach, right? So if today we do that as a forecast, as a primary one, then we can put in our fibs, okay, and we'll be looking at somewhere around this zone, right? Yeah, something like that. That would then turn into a potential area to look out for, and of course your stop can be like the previous high, right? Because once the market break that, I don't think we want to be in a sell anymore. Okay, so this is something you can look out for as well. Okay, so this one would end off with the C wave and the fourth wave there. Okay, so let's keep an eye on this. I think, you know, this maybe given, as I mentioned, another 2 days, it may develop into it. Okay, yeah, so I just put in some labeling there. Okay, so that's on pound. Depending on how market turn out, we might get something. Okay. And then we have over here is the Aussie, right? So just now I mentioned Aussie, we continue to expect more downside. Okay, if you have any sell which is, you know, from this point here, I think we cover a little bit sometime back, you know, looking at that sell. So if you have any trade, I would suggest manage that position along the way. With this little drop, I think, you know, you might even consider to shift your stops to protect more profits, right? That will put you around 6835, okay, and we expect a little bit more downside, okay, to retest that bottom there, 6630. If you don't have any sell, then again, you know, any kind of pullback here may not be that attractive anymore, and you might want to just be patient and see how the market react here. Can we get a buy? Okay, so Aussie is quite straightforward for now. Okay, just manage if you have position. If you don't, just be patient. Dollar CAD, if I were to update this a little bit, this one seems a bit messy. Okay, let me just draw this in. Okay, right now on dollar CAD, we're ideally seeing a 5-wave move, 1 2 3, right? So this is probably doing a 4th wave. You might want to be a little bit more patient, give it one more day and see if you can get a 3-wave move towards the zone. Then we can look for the buy to complete that 5th wave up, and then from there we can expect a bigger retracement. Okay, so the bias on dollar CAD is upside. Okay, but of course you don't want to be buying now. I don't think that's a good idea. You probably want to wait out for a obvious 3-wave first. Okay, something like that. So the area for it is somewhere around the 236 and 382, and of course from Elliott Wave principle, one of the rules states that wave 4 cannot go into wave 1 territory. So, you know, it needs to maintain above 1.3470 for this entire count to be valid. Of course, if this just drops like that, we need to update it, right? Probably, you know, this would be another count. But then if this just drop impulsively, there's no trade anyway, right? So we just need to wait for the next setup. Okay, so that's on dollar CAD. Potentially we might get a buy if you can get a decent 3-wave move, which you might need to give it another day or two. Okay, dollar yen is doing a pretty nice so far, a internal 1 2 3 4 5, right? So we kind of have this here as done. So this is probably gonna complete wave 5, you know, maybe today, tomorrow, and then that's it. From there we might get a deeper pullback. Okay, I would say we're definitely bullish on dollar yen, so we're just waiting for a deeper pullback to look for a buy. Okay, the idea here is if we are able to complete this structure, okay, then we'll be expecting a bigger 4th wave down, which is going to open up this part here, right? So this one here will come back down. Wave 4, let me pull that in. Okay, wave 4 will be somewhere here. Okay, so what can potentially play out is maybe this goes back up a little bit, and this would then form a 3-wave move to the downside towards this area. Then we'll be more interested to look for buy around this zone for the upside to complete the bigger 5-wave, right? So don't try to catch this small move. Okay, just wait for a decent pullback. Obviously it doesn't need to go up first before that pullback. you know, it can be here and then it starts to do this, right? So just be patient. I think again, give it about 2 to 3 days. We might get a little bit more clarity on that. Then you know, you might get that buy maybe later part for the week, right? Maybe after BOJ. So good. We have a couple here, right? So pound dollar, can keep it on it. Dollar CAD, dollar yen, okay, definitely can keep it on it. Gold, okay, gold here. My suggestion for this week is to just stay away. Probably just want to wait out. This is coming down, but again, if this forms a pullback here, this little sell may not be very attractive anymore, right? Because this zone is going to be important around 1787 is the 50% fit. We expect some kind of reaction there. So you want to ask yourself, right, is this sell going to be worthwhile? To me, it's not. So this is more like the euro dollar perspective, right? You just want to wait, see how the market is going to react around this zone, and I'll be more interested in see if we can get a bounce back from there. Okay, so I think this one here, unlikely you're going to get anything within the week, or you might even wait until like Friday, then when you have something. Okay. Crude oil. Crude oil perspective here is we are seeing a big channel, right? So from here, we can't anticipate a 1, 2, 3. This is a reset, so we're expecting another 1, 2, 3. This move here is something that you can consider if you are looking at crude oil. Okay, and of course, right now is the market is testing the inner trend line, right? So ideal setup over here is this comes back down a little bit in a corrective fashion. Okay, and of course, price maintained above this low, which is 7365, and we get a breakout, right? Because if we can get a breakout from this pattern here, we also get a breakout from this trend line, then the probability to the upside is quite high. Okay, so if you're looking at this, then my suggestion is look out for a breakout entry. Okay, that will be more conservative and safer. Okay, so that's on WTI. S&P, as of today, we're seeing an early sign of a reaction around that 50 and 618, which is great. Okay, so this 50 and 618 is basically after completion of this. This does a three-wave pullback towards 50 and 618 of this move. So we anticipate another push up. Okay, so it's still a little bit early right now because this can still, you know, after the market opened today, it can still do something like that, which takes a bit more time for an upside. But if let's say the momentum from today just continue up like that, then we just need to wait for a correction and then we can take this trade up. Okay, so it's still neutral, okay, but we'll see how today's market, US market performs. Again, if you can get a strong decent bounce, then we'll shift it to bullish and then we'll look for buy setup. Okay, BTC over here, nothing much has changed. We're basically still looking for upside. We have an impulse. This looks very corrective in nature. The market kind of tested the 50 and 618, seems to be supported from there. So we are expecting one more pushback to complete this fifth wave around 27265, and then from there on you may want to be a little bit more careful because we might get a deeper pullback from there, then only bounce up, right? But overall, I think Bitcoin may have bottomed, and this may be a first 5-wave move with an internal extended, right? So yeah, Bitcoin is definitely one that if you're into crypto trading, can pay attention a little bit into that as well, right? And if the S&P were to bounce off from here, then of course Bitcoin would probably follow through, right? Because both of these are risk asset. They have kind of close relationship with one another, right? If the equities rally, then there's a high chance Bitcoin will rally as well. Good. Okay, yeah, so those are some of the charts and opportunities to keep an eye on. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to type it into the chat. I'll give you some time to do that, and while you guys are typing in some of the questions, I'll do a little bit of a sharing over here for some of the bonuses, okay, events that we have here at Everything Trading. Okay. So first up here is that if you're fairly new to Everything Trading, okay, or Zenfinix is basically the broker. Okay, if you are new, you would like to open an account, okay, you can actually do so with the support team here. Okay, so if you're actually watching this on Zoom right now, the team will drop a WhatsApp link, okay, directly, where you can click that link. It'll lead you to the WhatsApp that you can reach out to Everything Trading support team directly. If you're watching right now on YouTube channel, then you just watch the description, click on the description below, there's a link to WhatsApp support. Right, so right now they are running this promotion where if you open your account, register, verify it, okay, and you make a deposit $100, you're gonna get $88 credit bonus. If you're gonna put in a $200 deposit, you're gonna get 96 credit bonus, and of course if you put in $500, you're gonna get 140. Okay, so if you would like to find out a little bit more about this, then feel free to reach out to them, okay, by just clicking on the WhatsApp link, right? So the team will actually put the link in the chat box so you can actually see it and click it. Okay, another one that if you're not in yet, okay, this is a Telegram channel. Okay, so the QR code is there. All you have to do right now is just scan this QR code. Okay, it will lead you to the Telegram channel. You click join and then you'll be inside. So what's happening inside this Telegram channel is every day I'll be posting up a chart, okay, to give you some info about market, and then whenever we have an update of an event upcoming, we also post it up there so you can get yourself updated as to what's happening with Everything Trading, what are some events, workshop, etc. Okay, this is free, so if you are not in yet, scan it now and then it will lead you to the Telegram channel, and then click join and you'll be in. Cool. Another one over here is that, oops, I haven't updated this, my bad. Okay, but let me just type it out so that you know. Okay, we have an upcoming, okay, so this one is a physical workshop, right? So I understand some of you are watching from different places around Malaysia or even the world. Okay, but this one here is happening in Penang, okay, on the 4th and 5th March, okay, which is this coming Saturday and Sunday. Okay, Saturday we'll be having it at Bukit Mertajam area. Sunday we'll be having it at Penang Island. Okay, the timing of this workshop is gonna be from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. and what we'll be talking about is how to get ready, okay, for the next super cycle, right? Some of you actually attended this in KL earlier this month, but for those of you who are watching in Penang, we'll have this in Penang as a physical workshop, right? So how to register, how to RSVP for your seats, same thing here. Click on the link on WhatsApp, okay. Let the team know, which date you want to participate, which date you want to join, how many, right? If you want to invite your friends to join in, feel free. Okay, so very quickly, what we're going to cover in this workshop here, we're going to share with you what the capital cycle is, okay, how can you get yourself prepared for this year as well as 2024. We're going to share specific stocks, commodities, and currencies that you want to look out for this year and next year. Okay, so that's what the workshop is going to be covering. And of course, if you're in Penang on the 18th of March, it's a full day workshop. We'll be covering the Elliott Wave Masterclass, okay, and again, this one here, just this weekend, we concluded that in KL. Okay, I think those of you who participated in KL, hopefully you enjoyed it. And of course, more importantly, is put things to practice, right? So for those of you in Penang, if you would like to join this workshop, okay, you want to find out a bit more information on how you can register for yourself for this full day workshop, same thing, okay, just click on the link, WhatsApp, okay, let the Everything Trading team know, and then from there, they'll fill you in with the details. Cool? Okay, again, if you're watching this on YouTube, same thing, right? Just go to the description, click on the link. Okay, yeah, so, yeah, that's the one. Cool, any question? Hey, Emmanuel says, I'm still in S&P trade, it hasn't hit my stop, right? I think if you're in S&P, you're probably looking at a buy, right? Which I think if this bounce happened, then that would be great. Okay, yeah. So I don't trade the index directly, but of course I invest in it. Okay, so of course a bounce here would be good for my overall equities portfolio as well. Good. Any question? Any questions from you guys? Don't have? All good. Cool. So if there's no question, I hope today's kind of session here, which we run on a weekly basis, kind of give you some ideas of what to take note of for the week, okay, and also kind of provide you an update of what's happening in the market, okay, and some opportunities that you want to keep an eye on, right? Especially in today's context, we talk about pound dollar, dollar CAD, dollar yen, and if you're in terms of like equities or crypto, then this two here is also interesting to watch for the week. Cool. So good. That's all for me. Okay. So all the best, and I'll see you guys in the next one, right? And again, highlight for those of you who wants to join us for Penang's session, make sure you RSVP, right? To the team here at Everything Trading. Okay, so that's all from me. All the best to your trading for this week, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Yeah, bye bye.
Recording stopped.